I'm going to open the August 2nd, 2023 Wolcott Select Board meeting. Adjustments to the agenda. The only thing is we're going to take off the schoolhouse revitalization project. The engineer was not able to meet with us tonight and will meet with us at our next meeting. All right, hearing no amendments to the agenda, the approval of minutes of July 19th, 2023. Do I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve the July 19th, 2023 minutes.
Second?
I'll second.
Any discussion, changes, additions, deletions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. Under comments from the community, we are going to hold our local control commission for an application pending approval from us. It's our cannabis control board. And this will be on Town Hill Road. You should have something in your packet.
Yep. Yep. So thank you for coming in.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a bit of a formality.
Yeah, no worries.
But we do have the state approval.
Mhm.
And we this is kind of the last step. We just have a couple of questions regarding the location and so forth.
Yeah.
I will say by state statute that this is a public meeting, it's a recorded meeting in minutes, and therefore we will not discuss the exact address in this meeting. But otherwise than that, I think we're free to talk. I'm going to start with a couple of questions. Really what we are looking for from our perspective is any effect that this project would have on abutting neighbors or that kind of thing. So first off is just kind of check the box. This is a private residence. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you are the owner of the residence?
I'm not the owner. It is Nick Grabowski. He gave me permission to use the land to cultivate on.
Okay. And do you live there?
I stay there once in a while because Nick and I are friends, but I don't that's not my permanent residence.
Okay. Okay. But your business is located at this.
Yeah.
residence.
Mhm.
And when you applied at the state, did they recognize that you're not full-time resident?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
Great. Proximity to schools? No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Water source is well?
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. And where do you plan to have the garden? Is it the proximity to the road?
It's not visible from the road.
It's not visible.
Yeah, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
In proximity to abutters, your neighbors.
There's you can't see any neighbors around at all. The closest house would actually be that cottage that they subdivided that property. They used to be a part of the property, but you still actually can't see it from their house or anything. So it's totally not visible from any direction. Yeah.
The other concern that comes up from the public really is odor. So is it in a well ventilated area?
Yeah, it's pretty confined in a little greenhouse, and I have some outdoor plants, but mostly are in a greenhouse that's closed and more smell proof. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Great. That's kind of a list I have. Anything you want to add?
I know I didn't get your name. You mentioned the address. I just figured this out too, that there was something with the address. I guess the previous owner, she was using the address that actually goes with the cottage. Nick actually mentioned that the other day. He just got the slip found the mail that says how to change it. So I think we need to do that and then add that to the license and just change the number of the house.
That's a 911 number.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so and
So you're gonna have to change that with the state as well.
yeah, totally. So I'm gonna do that tomorrow. I just
Okay.
thought that was got brought to my attention.
Well,
as
And
well.
I'm Deb, I'm one of the E911
Okay, perfect.
coordinators.
Yeah, so you know, yeah. I just wanted to make sure that you guys knew that I now know about that and I'm gonna take the steps to change that tomorrow.
I don't have any questions. I think the state, pretty much
That covered everything.
covers everything.
Yeah.
You don't, do you have it fenced in?
I don't because there's multiple things for the cannabis control board that you can have, you can choose what security to follow, so I have multiple cameras. And then I also, and you can't see it from the road, so I don't need a fence, but. Yeah, the neighbors, if someone buys that property, they might want to put up a fence, because they can probably see from the back of their yard, but not from the house, which is good.
Anything else? All right, I think all the boxes are checked.
Awesome, thank you so much.
So what we'll do is we'll, if this is correct, we'll
Motion.
make a motion.
Yes.
So I'll go ahead and make a motion to accept the state application for Dana.
Yeah, let's go by the number.
Oh,
3944. That's 3944.
right.
Thank you.
You have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Not all those in favor? Opposed? So carried.
We're done.
It's easy, thank you guys so much.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming by.
Yeah, I also think I already paid the local fee too, I didn't know if you guys saw.
Yeah, that comes to us through the state. Yeah, you pay the state and they'll eventually send it to us.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good luck with the business.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on to the project manager's report.
Okay. So I don't know if we should table the private burial policy or if everybody's had a chance to review it and read it.
No, Deb asked me and I thought, I didn't read it because we didn't put it on there. We figured we were too over our heads in
Yeah.
floods. Sorry, but if you would like to do it, we could say, have it ready for next week, if you'd like that.
At this point, I don't see any real urgency in this with all the urgent issues that come up, but.
So that's kind of, what we felt like.
And the same with the North Wolcott Gulf Road study. The only thing I can say about this is I have not yet gotten a hold of Crestberry to discuss it. Paul McGrath did request a meeting with the select board. He is requesting a 25-mile-an-hour limit on the stretch of road between the bridge and the road that Jan lives on.
Whitetail Drive.
Whitetail Drive. And so, if we have time at the next meeting, we thought we'd invite him in to discuss that.
I thought, the study showed that it didn't warrant it.
It does. He's asking for it anyway. The average speed is, they go by the 80% safe speed.
Yeah, I think it was 40. Okay,
I had that discussion, and yet he still would like to. The alternative is he can maybe come in, because I know you guys don't have a lot of time during the day, but he could come in and just talk to you tonight about the options, and then we could bring it for the board if we think there's any change. that are better at me.
No, because
Now, don't you have yield signs on the bridge now?
no,
No, we had to take them down. Those signs said narrow bridge slope, I think. And we got a complaint from a resident that they were not, compliant signs. And he's right, they're not compliant to, MUCD, I think it is. Because at the time, we were changing sign vendors, we couldn't find any. I found these just with a third party vendor. And they were helpful, but we had a complaint on that side as well.
there's no problem with yield on that bridge. You can see.
Yeah.
It's so short
Right.
that I've never known a problem where someone didn't respect someone else. That is not his problem. His problem is speed, but we can talk. He can come in, if he wants it, he can come in. I mean, he has that right. I don't have any alternatives to talk to him about, so I don't really know if I want to meet with him.
Okay.
Even if you did post it, I'm not sure people go 25, and if they don't go higher, they're gonna go higher.
Right, now that's the whole 80% theory. The whole country does this. You should not underpost speed. But he's asking.
I can say leaving it at 35 is fine. I wouldn't want it up.
No.
I mean, we could put 25 there, but
It's not gonna do it.
It's
I
not
mean,
gonna
if that
slow
makes
down.
him happy, we can put it there, but that's about it.
I've had that discussion and he's convinced it'll work and we tell him it won't.
Not unless you have an officer sitting right there.
Right.
Because that happened tonight. I got just across the bridge up here by the cemetery, guy right on my butt.
Mhm.
Guess who was down at the town hall? In Moyle County. So I rolled the window down and went, the guy's like, "Oh, what the hell? They're not gonna slow down. They're gonna do 45 through down unless the cop's right there."
Would he be willing to buy the signs?
Let's see. Oh, that is a narrow bridge.
It is, but people do slow down when they get to the bridge.
I mean, the only thing I can say, that's why they've been opening them up lately, is because you couldn't be a state plow in one of those bridges. And I know on that bridge, if you were to meet the town plow. There's gonna
But
be
that
40.
bridge is so small and you can see the other side. I mean, you must be wanting your car destroyed if you don't stop.
It almost needs, like they had up here for a while. For signage, it says. One's gonna stop or the
Oh,
other,
that's what I said, take turns,
yeah,
take turns.
that's the only thing. And
Well, he did request that previously, put a stop sign, a take turn stop sign, that would slow people down. And so we had the state look at that and they said no. So the line of sight is so good. that,
Right.
yeah. This is an ongoing thing. So next is the portalette that we got for the rail trail, we're gonna cancel that. Until further notice. We did, I got notice today from the state that we were granted the small scale safety grant. And that is the grant for signage, and I believe it's close to $10,000. This is a reimbursable grant setup. But it's gonna help us purchase some signs. Website development, so in the background throughout the flood and so forth, there has been progress on the website. And Dolan, can you share that?
Sure.
And I don't want to go through the whole thing, I mean, 2 times, but just want to have everybody see the model and get the URL so you can pick it up and look at it. This is on the staging site right now. And you can see that the makeup is quite a bit different. The structure is different. Bradley did put these new announcements that I think take up too much real estate right now. So we might want to ask him to take a look at a second option, which is horizontal scrolling, as opposed to taking up too much of the page there. And then if we can scroll down and we can look at the town report. So there's the town report there. And as you can see, turn some pages again. We turn it into an online book. How nice. And you can pop down just the government. No, it's a drop down up top. There the government. And then you just look at one of those, and these all need to be fine-tuned. But really what I just want to show today is kind of the general shot. Yeah. So it's a much more modern look. It's meant to be a cleaner look, and it's meant to be much easier to navigate. There's a lot of work to be done on it, but I think we now have kind of a foundation that we can work on. All right. Thanks, Dawn. I just want to report on the LCWD site visit. This was last Sunday. Sarah Lillibridge came up. She is the outreach person for the Will County Waste District. She was great. She set up a little table there, talked to people about recycling, what to do and not to do. And yeah, I think she was pretty well received. That was great. She will also be attending the September event. Bulk waste day. We had bulk waste. It was quite a day. Yeah, that was the previous Saturday, and it was also flood waste day. So we kind of had a combination of flood waste coming up plus free bulk. There were, I don't have the stats in front of me. Do you by any chance?
It was about 50 vehicles, some of which made multiple trips. But yeah, it was good. The previous year's bulk day had a lot of mattresses. And so this year, not so many mattresses, but there were a lot of couches and chairs. And the litter committee also said half-price tires, and a lot of people took advantage of half-price tires.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we usually do that at cleanup day, and we do.
Right.
Well, yeah, but these green up days supposed to be tires that are in the ditches.
No, we've always done for the whole town to bring tires half price, but we did not because we weren't so good standing this year.
We also got some recommendations about other places to recycle tires that may be less expensive. So I'm going to start researching that as well. Yeah, but it was quite a day. The community came together on that one. Talk about a community center. That was it. So the efficiency application is still in. We have not got a response on that as of yet. That's going through LCPC. Dog problems, I'm going to skip for a minute because I have it down lower. Solid waste problems. We do have a resident that is a long standing solid waste problem. We've been unable to solve the problem in 3 years. We've gotten the state involved and we continue to not be able to make progress. So we contacted Senator Weissman and he is bringing the head of solid waste management to investigate what happened and what we can do. So we've kind of escalated this up to the top.
Excellent.
And go from there. Insurance claim, Deb, just a note, Deb is working on the municipal insurance claim. So this would be our losses for municipal building, the fire department, the garage and the town hall. And it looks like it's going to be an ongoing project for quite a bit, actually. Also, there have been several residents on School Street that have shown an interest in property buyout. And Linda, I think, is taking the lead on this. So it just an FYI that there are, I'm not sure how many there are.
Well, there's 3 that have said yes, there's 2 maybes.
Now, property buyout really changes the look and feel of School Street, I would think, because a property buyout would be replaced with, the buildings would be removed and nothing can ever be built there again.
Does anyone talk to Gibbs?
I have multiple times, I've been to his house multiple times. I was this close, he needs to say yes, but he wouldn't say yes today to me. And because you get 100% of the assessed value the day before the flood. And what his assessed value, I would have been happy.
Yeah.
And he wasn't. And it's like, he can't live there.
No, that place has been through 4 major floods.
Yeah.
To 4 feet, minimal.
I think that building, well, so the state has been working today with Tom on, because we're part of the flood insurance program. If the building is substantially damaged, so I would assume that one is that he could not rebuild unless he rebuilds and flood proofs it.
Is Cole Pearson on board?
Cole is, and I have submitted his. The other one is, I meant to look today, but it went too late. Levi Martin.
Oh, down at the camp.
He was very interested. Now, is he the one that he was standing on top of his truck roof?
Oh, I don't know if it was him or not.
Somebody said somebody could see him from Route 15. Where was the car?
It might have been
Where's the camp?
right across from East Hill coming down.
So, yeah, you go down there and the fish and wildlife on that, but then further down.
Yeah.
That camp was, kind of, that land was all screwed up when they redid the bridge.
Yeah.
Seattle was their names. New Jersey.
Yeah, the bridge used to pass in front of that house.
And they had a lot more land, but now it's like some on one side of the bridge, some on the other.
Then there was a big misunderstanding about the property, Fish and Wildlife owned it. Levi thought that he owned it. Yeah, I can see why you buying it.
But I need to go look at it. And Betty Lou wants to.
What about that trailer across the street by Gibbs?
I know, supposedly they didn't get flooded, and I can't really,
I can't believe they did.
I don't know. I think Tom Stockton, he is required to meet with all these people.
Okay, road curb project, this was an interesting one. Apparently, this was approved and signed by the Wolcott Select Board in 2018. And they're just now ramping it when we move forward.
For what?
They listed here,
Oh, this year, did I need to know what it was? Oh,
yeah. Replacement installation of new traffic signs on Boulder Brook, East Hill, Maury Hill, Sand Hill, West Hill. And it was signed in 2017.
What are their recommendations for signs?
deliver a set of small curb safety projects on local roads. Now, I know they did one on Elmore Pond Road, and it's those little reflecting squares that when you go around a corner.
It's for curb safety. I don't know if they're gonna be chevrons or arrows or what they're gonna be, but apparently we applied for it back then. Now we're getting around to it. Unless there's any objection, I gotta say, yeah, go for it.
There's a few on the Warren Hill Road here.
Yeah, the pond road still needs,
Right.
definitely needs them. BT Trans payment, this is just for the FYI, I understand, BT Trans has done. Is paid Wolcott, and they included the November payment now. As part of flood, situation. Did we put that?
I didn't read it, Melinda was saying something.
Yeah.
You mean our highway funds that we get quarterly?
What they did was they bundled the two together. Make it easier for us. Bridge debris, so we had, beat James come out and do a bridge inspection on 3 bridges, the Gulf Road Bridge, Corley Road Bridge, and the Pond Road Bridge. And the report that came back is that there's a lot of debris under those bridges, and there's debris under the School Street Bridge that has to be removed. And we do not have the equipment or actually the time and equipment to remove that debris. So Linda had contacted somebody who in turn gave a reference to SEOC, which is an emergency division for the state of Vermont. I contacted them today and they took down all the information and indicated they would get back to us. What we need is a long arm excavator and an operator to get that stuff. So we'll see what happens with that. There's a lot of ditching done on West Hill Road, which was really storm damage repair. In the process of doing so, quite a number of culverts needed to be put in. There is a resident on West Hill Road named Fear who has a cutout to a pasture, and our trenching opened it up so that water now pours into his pasture. There was no way around it. So what that requires is a very small culvert to divert that. He does need a driveway permit first before we can put in the culvert. And I would like to propose to the board that because we know where this culvert is, we know that our road people have been up there, because they're actually doing the work, that we could waive the $25 fee for this graduate permit. Under the assumption that the reason for the $25 is that somebody has to go up and inspect it and so forth, which has all been done, and this is done as a result of our work. So I'd like to request a waiver of that fee.
It's fine with me, as long as he fills out the permit that we have on file.
Yeah.
Gets recorded.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Belinda will want her recording fee though. But I'm just telling you.
Are there any other objections?
I don't have any objections.
I have the permit here, so I'm gonna go over and see him. I'll take care of that. I'll mention it to Belinda as well. Along those lines, transfer station attendant request. Silvio, Deb and I are up with Silvio for 2 weekends and got to know Silvio really well. And he took a vacation this weekend. And his argument is he's been working the transfer station for 3 years now, solid, 100% dependable, never missed a day. And he is requesting if the board would authorize his compensation for those 2 days. Now, our policy is not. But I told him I would talk to everybody and see. We're talking about 12 hours.
Maybe 8. It's 4 hours a day,
Oh, okay.
9 to 1.
Yeah. My math is right. Yeah. So 8 hours, so it would be 8 hours a day. I know there's a lot of problems with Silvio. There's also, there's just a lot of good that comes with Silvio. It's something we have to keep working on, and the problems we have with Silvio is he's not collecting properly. The benefits that Silvio brings is that he is very well liked, well respected up there. It is the transfer station is the social center for Wolcott. It's been a couple full days there, you really get a taste of it. And the day he wasn't there, I thought, people were beside themselves.
Well, of course, because they had to pay. That's the way I think.
If you have 2 different ways to give it.
I know Silvio is,
And little kids drawing pictures, they're all posted in the walls. Oh my God, it's gonna,
Dogs love him.
dogs.
Not all dogs.
well, whatever, you can decide, but I'm gonna vote no. And I'm gonna vote no because it's not the 8 hours, it's not the money, it's the precedent. Because then you're gonna have another part-time person wanna, who doesn't get vacation pay, come in, and if you start breaking the rules, in my mind, it creates more problems for the rest of the personnel, the staff.
Yeah, that's a valid point, yeah.
It's nothing to do with the money, I mean.
It's a valid point, and I would, I told
But if
him,
you wanna vote me, that's fine, I mean, it's not.
I told him that I would present.
I feel the same as Linda.
Okay,
I mean, last year came Christmas time and we gave her. What happened again this year?
Any thoughts?
Alan?
Everyone else doesn't want to, then.
No, you don't always have to agree. I mean, if all three of you want to vote yes, go ahead. And I'm just telling you my feelings.
All right, so I think the answer is no.
To you.
Okay, and I just wanted to quickly report on the animal control issues that are kind of going. The worst of which is Curtis Lamfair. He has 7 dogs up there now. They're all unregistered. And Ben the Bull, is still, there's nothing we can really do with him. He survived the floods. But it's a couple of things, they brought up on Oak Day, and Deb can tell you better than anybody, they came up with trash that everybody had to leave the transfer station long enough for the wind to blow it out of there.
It was worse than, I mean, I've attended autopsies and that was like candy compared to what they brought.
Better than don't worry.
So,
Was it?
they said it was a flooded basement.
Yeah, it's more like it was piled out back for.
I think there were probably, a lot of maggots involved and
Was it household garbage?
there was a mattress and
So it was both stuff.
stuff. There was a cooler of something.
With meat in it or something. So I don't know what to do exactly with Curtis. I mean, it's a dog issue. Dean has been over there. Dean has told him he's got to get a license, and that's where we stand.
Is Helen still in?
Yeah.
Usually Helen we can deal in.
Have you seen the dogs? Have you?
That's one of them.
Oh, yeah. Dennis Tribble, as we all know, Dennis Tribble has a hound dog. Who Dennis loves, but he loses control of him all the time. And Dean gets calls from Dennis quite often saying that his dog has gotten away again. So Dean goes out, helps him find it. But the problem is that the dog goes uphill all the way to Sand Hill, up all the way to Garfield Road. And
You can hear it.
yeah, you can hear it. And it gets into confrontations with other dogs. And so there's been a couple of dog biting dog. And so the neighbors are more than a little upset. And so Dean has talked to Dennis, and Dean's recommendation is that the dog has not been fixed. And it is, that dog will bolt out of a car faster than lightning. And so the recommendation is to get fixed. Dennis doesn't prefer not to do that. At the same time, Dennis, with his background, does not want to be ticketed. So Dean's going to go back and talk to him again and say, look, it's going to be one of the other here. You got to do something.
Well, there's one thing to be said. If the neighbors decide to shoot his dog because they're attacking their animals, there's nothing he can do.
Yeah.
And I suggested that to one person years ago. Because this one dog in town would get loose, start killing the neighbor's cats.
Yeah.
Well, the dog didn't make it home one night. Guy came to me, he goes, well, we gotta find him. So I can tell you where it is, you know. Won't make you happy, but,
we want to avoid that kind of thing happening.
well, it's neighbor against neighbors, nothing to do with us. State law
Well,
says.
it's already been a traumatic experience with Dennis back there.
Yeah. I want to keep the lid on.
Well, Kurt, isn't the issue that Dennis's dog is not the aggressor?
Right. Yeah, that is true. Dennis's dog is not the one getting into fights. It's the dog he goes up to
Meets up.
meets up with it. But, you know, then the owner of that dog has a legitimate complaint, you know, this is
Yeah.
a loose dog on your
Right.
property.
Yeah.
And then the last one is, I can't remember these names.
Timothy Egner.
Is he he's the government kind of guy? Yeah, he's, that's just a problem. He has an unregistered dog and he won't register.
Does it go off its property?
Don't know.
I'll pick it up if it does. That's how you get it
Okay.
registered.
Okay.
The same with Lanfear's.
What should we do with Curtis? Is he gonna sell those dogs or keep it?
I had no clue with him along there.
I mean, I don't see how we can afford to feed them all.
A part-time job, but they figure out how they survive somehow.
$35 for 40 pounds. Couple weeks. He must-
How old are they? How old's your dog?
It's a little over 7 months.
All right, so they needed to do it at 6. And that means they all need rabies shots.
Yeah.
Isn't he Nathan's brother,
Nephew.
nephew? And so Dean's talked to him?
Oh, yes. What Dean is doing now is he's putting dates for. You know, he's coming in and letting them know that the dogs are not registered. And he gives them 10 days to get them registered. And he'll be back in 10 days, and he's been doing that. He comes back in 10 days. But at some point, he calls me up and said, back in 10 days, and they get back in 20 days, and what do we do? What do we do?
Do you have their phone number? Do they have a phone? They don't. They don't.
Internet, no, they have to borrow my internet, get the internet.
Jeez. You can't impound them.
You can.
Impound them, and then after 30 days, they don't pay the fees. They find them a home.
Well, we have to look at our ordinance. See what it says. I mean, I think if you don't license them, we can pick them up.
Right.
I think, in the past, we used to write a letter, official letter. So it's on record.
And Belinda says she's done that for all of the
Ones
unregistered dogs.
Maybe that's the route to go.
Yeah, but that, does that give a deadline and everything on it?
I haven't seen, I've just heard that.
Oh,
Maybe that's the thing to do is have her write, you got 15 days or we're gonna impound you. You've had fair time and notice.
I'm sure what it comes down to is they don't have the money to do get the rabies shots.
Yeah, but they have the clinics down there. at
that's what I
Tractor
was
Supply.
gonna suggest, yeah, if I call them and tell them to take them up to Tractor Supply.
I mean, $10 a dog?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, some dogs. Still.
Or at least start the
Yeah.
process.
Yeah. Okay. So that's all I have.
Thank you. On the live updates. Well, so many people been around. I signed up for FEMA today. Kurt and I attended the recovery workshop that's required on Monday. And we registered today for help for public assistance, which would include our roads and our municipal buildings. We had a meeting with Dylan too, to kind of go over some of the flood damage and his perspective on it and his workload, because he has a grant to do the statements, which has to be done by end of September. He's also getting married, so he'd be off for a little bit. He's getting married in September. So, you know, we're kind of at a crunch. I asked him today what he thought about hiring Lucian again to oversee like the Flatiron Road. Have you been over there to see it?
Bad shape.
Of hiring like he did with our Brook Road culvert. He wasn't opposed to it. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, Lucian is qualified. I don't feel like I'm qualified on road stuff. Dylan seems like he's the help. He can fix the little stuff. But when you get into Army Corps of Engineers permitting and, you know, the state giving permits to work in the river, and Lucian seems like a much more qualified person to do that. So I wonder how the board, that I haven't talked to him, because I wanted to ask the board's permission.
I don't mind him helping, I just would like to know what he's gonna charge per hour or.
Well, he was getting $17.50 last time, and I was suggesting 25. It's all reimbursable through that project. It's not something that we, you know, we have to pay it, of course, first, but it gets absorbed through the project.
I mean, I think he did an excellent job on the Brook culvert, and he focused on it, which really freed up the road crew. And boy, they need to be freed up right now. And he does know how to deal with these big scale projects.
You know, he knew when to have, you have to have this, when the cement needs to be tested and all that sort of thing. You know, and the sand has to be tested to see if it's the right, he knows all that highway stuff that.
I think my only feeling is if he's hired, I think before any contracts or anything goes out, he has to come to the board.
Oh, yeah, he won't, no contracts will go out through him. It would go through us, and it'd be a FEMA thing, so. I'd like him to take a look at that road, you know, we had the engineer look at it. We learned that if we're gonna hire an engineer, to repair them, which you probably will need. We have to get 3 bids from engineers. We can't just send them our engineer.
I'd like to see that road at least brought up 3 feet.
Well, I don't know what the recommendation is.
I mean, that would help it out of the flood.
Yeah, there's been
Lots of different ideas.
a whole series of different agencies and so forth that have gone down and looked at their road. And there is kind of a common theme of the road ideally needs to be moved. And we're going to have to break into the ledge and basically straighten it out. Get it away from the road. And so we have several engineers, all thought that said, that's what you got to do. Now what we have to do is kind of figure out what's our plan and what does FEMA think about it. Because FEMA, I guess their default is, if I understand it right, is they just say replace it. Replace it the way it was before.
I mean, if you try to straighten it out somewhat, it almost is like you have to start on this, is it called East Elmore Road?
Yeah.
There and try to go sort of a straight path. But if you try to, then you're going into the river.
You're not gonna be able to make that a straight road. I mean, you can't do anything until after Bjarki's.
Yeah.
Because they jut out like that.
Yeah, what they mean by straight, what the engineers mean by straight is take that curve out where it's all busted up now. That's where move it over. And the same thing you're saying.
It's almost like you'd have to tell Bjarki's goodbye.
No, never, it happened right after that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it'd almost be easier to go through that whole thing and move it all back.
But we don't have money.
We don't have the money to move back 10 feet.
No. But if you put your head over, you can see the river's right there. It's got to be, built up. With stone, a lot of stone and stuff.
Huge stone.
Yeah,
And the Norman still may not wash away.
right.
Yeah, because I've seen those retaining blocks like they put over here for quad crosses over them.
Mhm.
Those during the flood got moved and buried.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So it's either you build a concrete retaining wall or find stones bigger than a car.
Yeah.
It's the only way to keep it.
Or to move it back. Move it back.
But like I said, then you have to move everything 10 feet and there goes the Yerkes.
And it's an engineering problem that we're gonna look at. But speaking of things moving around, there's a hot tub on Route 15.
That was Edwards.
Yeah, and I'm told that it floated down into a field somewhere.
It floated down into Bill.
No, that's
It floated,
Rams's property.
yeah, it did.
And so that whoever pulled it out towards the road,
I don't know.
yeah. And now, is there any way we can get a hold of the owner of that thing?
You would have to talk with Margaret Tatro.
Well, I mean, Edwards lives in Hyde Park.
Right.
I'm sure you can, but yeah.
Phone myself, so I couldn't tell
Yeah.
you, but Margaret,
Yeah,
mother,
Oh, it's very nice.
mother-in-law,
mother-in-law.
yeah,
Edwards.
yeah.
Because that is not something that we can pick up and do something with. And I don't think the state is,
It wasn't in the state right away when it was there, now it's at the edge of the state right away.
Right.
You almost need a backhoe to pick that thing up.
Oh, yeah, and then what do you do?
Bring it back up to Edwards.
Well, that's kind of my thought is that there is an original owner of this thing. And say, hey, we found you. We can do it.
And I can see him saying no. I mean, if the town crew was handy one day, I'd just say, hey, chain on to it, pick it up. bring it back up and drop it off. Let them deal with it. I mean, there's no other way around it. 'Cause he doesn't have the equipment to even think of moving it.
Right. It can't be busted up or something?
You can, but it's a whole pile of fiberglass. I mean, it's a great big molded fiberglass and then 8-inch foam.
I just wanted to inquire if you thought that the original owner would.
I haven't even seen him. He came one, I guess, morning, he took whatever they had outside.
Yeah, a
that
couple
year.
of times they've been there. They dried it out and they slowly took it away.
Yeah.
And I couldn't tell you when they did, so.
So the best thing you're suggesting is to call April.
Yes. Call mother-in-law, see what she can give you.
They
for
have a phone number.
All right.
Name's Margaret.
Anything else for flood updates?
How's the North Wolcott Road doing?
North
There.
Road is.
Well, I know it's still there, but that one corner up by,
Yeah.
I think his name,
It's by the.
by the ball fields.
Now the ball fields is,
It's the tree fields.
well, that luckily we're in the middle of a grant. from the state and part of the grant was to get rid of the debris, so I'll have a little more.
And for North Wolcott Road, we have a contract coming up with Pike Industries to repave. And that's exactly where they were gonna repave, but Dylan's gonna have to go in there and, bunker it.
I thought he needs a permit
Yeah.
first, but I thought he was paving down the beginning of North
Yes.
Wolcott.
Yeah.
Well,
And he's going up there. Yeah.
all the way into the village?
Yeah.
That long?
But it's not,
It's just sort of skimming it.
it's, right.
It's not putting a 3-inch layer, it's a skim.
That's a long ways.
Yeah.
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 And then they can get that hole, that sinkhole, it's right across from the second parking lot at the ball field.
Yeah.
Over on the side there, it's all caving in, it almost seems like it needs a cone.
Almost looks like need more riffraff.
That's exactly what it needs, and that's what Dylan got a permit, and Dylan will do that. And so this is the kind of squeeze Dylan gets in. So you get pipe when you get pipe, you better have this patch before you. So that's why getting somebody like Leisha to take some of the load off is really helpful.
I mean, that stone that was put in there still wasn't big enough to take that flow.
It held up pretty good, but not.
It needs to be,
Not completely.
needs to be bigger. I mean, something as big as that cabinet would be better than what they put in before.
Yeah.
I mean, 40-pound rock's okay, but if that water moves those 40 pounds, it's gonna have to be a 250-pound stone.
Right. Right.
So what's his plan for Town Hill?
We have not discussed that yet.
I mean, Pond Road's pretty good.
There are a lot of residential complaints up there. More there than
The
anything.
ditching, took a pretty good serious hit.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I know. Yeah. And that's where people's driveways separate from the road, and that's what it makes.
Yeah, it's like the people should have. Instead of this little 6-inch culvert, they should have put in a 2-foot.
Yeah. He's upgrading all the culverts that he's putting in are coming up to standards.
Yeah, well. Yeah, that's the problem.
Ready to move on to Lurgy Road?
Yeah.
Discussion? Did anybody get to go and look at it?
Take a truck.
Huh?
Take a truck. The road is pretty rough.
I walked it
Well,
from
The,
truck is
From Adams.
easier to-
from Adam's house.
it's pretty confusing, but the issue, as I see it, is we don't. There is the Bass Trail, there's the Catamount Trail, and there's Lurby Road that all kind of converge at the same place, and what's what? And, are we really solving this guy's problem? I don't know.
Do you know what the green flags, what do they represent, the green flags?
Must be Catamount.
No, the catamount
There's a
are
call,
blue.
actually.
The catamount are blue, and they say a catamount or something on it. And the snowmobiles, you can tell, but then they have these green plastic flags everywhere, like stapled to the trees.
Could be a homemade trail.
I didn't know if it was the park.
Like, that could be. I don't know.
I didn't know we didn't know what they meant.
Did you talk to, Colin?
Yeah, I went up Sunday and talked to him on the other end.
What's his opinion at this point?
Well, he wants us to,
Block it off.
I mean, there's no. Where he is, it's blocked off, it says no motorized vehicles. He has a hot tub or something, an old hot tub. Right there. Where you know, you go up the hill to his house, where the trail is, so no one can go, but it's so overgrown, no one can go anyway. So that's not the issue, it's the one on West Hill.
Yeah.
But I tend to think that they're not using Lurvy Road. Cause what was that road? So. Bernard said that other road next to Lurvy Road. It's a wide road. And it goes up the hill there. He said that went to Lurvy Meadow.
I didn't go that far.
Well, it's right next to.
Yeah, but I didn't go up the road.
No, neither did I.
I mean, it was so wet, I don't dare to go and
Right,
sink into something and.
but Lurvy Road is right next to that road. You can see it. But it seemed overgrown and it didn't seem like it was being used.
If you gotta hike it to get through, it's kind of like you can't get any motorized into there anyways.
Right.
I think we should, see if we can ride on the back of one of these bikes and see.
Not me.
Let's see how they get up there. I don't know.
No, it's been so wet, I don't dare to go onto some,
No, I understand that.
I mean, even the
I think that
fields.
the question really is, there are dirt bikes that go up in that area of something. They're getting up in there something. And that's what he wants to stop, and that's what we want to stop. So where
As long as they're coming from the other side.
No, they're coming from the bottom of West Hill.
Wonder if it's the ones that used to come over here and ride.
Some logging trail on the backside somewhere. That wouldn't surprise me if it's a dirt bike. Well, the logging trail on the backside is operating somewhere.
I mean, there used to be 3 or 4 and we come through town. and come over here and go up behind the town pit. I haven't seen them for 2 years, so I'm wondering if finally they got told, those dirt bikes don't make the road. So they found
But
another
then what's
place.
his name, Jeff? Demikio, like, had a dirt bike along with a guy who was up on East Hill Road, I forgot his name, Ryan Bates. Yeah, they had him a while back.
But I mean, you don't see them in town anymore, so.
Yeah. I think these are coming from. And they're local.
They gotta be from Garfield or,
Well, that's where they end up, for Garfield.
they must have some sort of loop they made in there so they can just bug around all day long. There's not much you can do if it's someone's property, then they can post it. But we don't have the right to post someone's private property.
No, and that's. But we do have the right to block the road, because it's true. If we can find them.
Right. I think it warrants further discussion with people on the Catamount Trail and the map here, people with vast, just to figure out the story.
And I would like to talk to Adam also. He's pretty familiar with the woods back there.
Right. I talked to him a lot before, when we were walking up there,
I don't know.
yeah. It's the first place you walk past Adams, right past Adams on the right, there's a chain. But that's, the land that used to be Arlo's. And there was problems with them cutting that chain all the time.
Chasing camels. In the woods. Yeah, I think more research needs to be done. I think.
Yeah, so why don't we just table it? A decision at this point? I'm not ready to make a decision.
Is it possible to have VAS and
And apparently he
kind
has,
of whoever come in and talk with them and see what their thoughts are?
I think it is, yeah, because. Brian Cohen has gotten a hold of this. You know, he claimed that he's got their permission and so forth. but-
I'd like to talk with them in a meeting so we know what their decision is. I don't like sucking in information.
Where their trail actually goes.
I agree with you, I don't. All that indicated to me is that he does have a contract. with Green.
Okay, wastewater committee. They were in last meeting, with a timeline for us to follow. One of the things was to get more members, have an official. They wanted the wastewater committee to be officially designated by the select board as a town committee. And to get more members. I have not done Facebook, front porch forum because I don't have internet. I did get a member though. I got Trish Fowler to be on the committee also. So do we need to say who the members are or just officially designate the committee?
You mean right now?
Yeah, they wanted us
I
to,
think.
they wanted us to make this an official committee.
Yeah, we should, I believe we should create the committee. And then we'll post the committee on the website. Appeal to the public, approach forum. And then announce the members. As they come in.
Okay.
Are you interested in?
I could be on.
So there are standing members from forever on it too. You, me, Jim Ryan, Jim Roberts, Bruce Wheeler. I mean, we are the ones that have been going for 3 years. but they want more.
We have two new members.
Mhm.
That's not bad. Yeah, so. Guess we can make a motion to create the Wolcott wastewater committee.
Second that. Any other discussion on that?
I'll take the process of posting on the website.
Yeah.
If you have a write-up you'd like to get on front porch one, you can put that. If we have anything.
Okay,
Need a vote.
all in favor? All in favor? Aye, opposed? So carried.
Yeah, last time Bruce Wheeler was in the office, he indicated that there's a couple in town. And I didn't get their name, but he thought that they would have some background that would be very helpful for the committee, and he was going to talk to them.
So we'll create the committee, we'll post it, we'll set a meeting. There'll have to be a kickoff meeting.
No, just Victoria and Alex are now overseeing this because Sal's gone. They did the timeline,
Yeah.
they're the leads.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah. So
They're gonna come to the August barbecue, well, they said August, but and provide a lot of outreach and try, and so this is the timeline they gave us. And I think the guy on the bridge wants to meet with some of us. About. And the engineer,
School Street Bridge.
yeah. The designer, yeah, soon, trying to make,
that's the date, so we can.
Yeah.
Go back and forth.
right, and they did apply for that grant. That we approved, but. All the money's gone. And so we'll be in the next round. So it's kind of like. That part is kind of on hold, but what. I got from the planning commission was that the committee needed to step up. And start having more formal community outreach. In our spare time. Anything else?
Yes.
Okay.
What do we have to do, or is the board against it, posting no use of air brakes, Jake brakes in town?
Oh, you mean engine braking?
I think we'll have to make a request of V-Trans.
Yeah, so it's so they have no
Yeah.
engine braking signs.
Hardwick does,
Yeah,
Montpelier,
yeah,
Larry.
that should really not be a problem for us, getting the signs.
Yeah, it's their road though, we just get permission or have them put it up or make a formal request to them.
Is it possible to have it done?
Oh, I think so, yeah.
Where exactly are they putting them on?
By the cemetery, and when it says 40 miles an hour at the other end. 2 to 3 o'clock every morning, I think it's MBI.
Oh, yeah.
The trash truck. The trash route.
Truck full of trash.
to get it going this way, to get rid of it, to go up to Coventry, and when they come back.
Yeah, we can post a sign and we can also,
I don't think we can.
I know, but what I'm saying is we can request a sign to be posted. And then we can, call MBI and. Say, hey, we posted this.
I mean, the feed trucks, the milk trucks, fuel trucks, they're all nice about it. They don't, it's just,
Yeah, it's pretty rude, pretty rude. Either that or they don't have any regular breaks that aren't good.
well, I think they realize once in a while, Lamoille County sits at the church and they're going, oh, gotta hit the speed and.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's too bad they wouldn't do like they did in Callis and Woodbury, put that little flashing neon sign that the truck took out.
What does it say?
Just like it does on downhill, so, hey, you're over speed.
Oh, those things, yeah.
But yeah, the Flint took them out. You put them in, but they're not activated in. Fix them.
Suppose they found. Anyway. Let's make a motion.
Somebody.
They were.
Thanks, Dolan.
You sleepy?
Thanks. I'm gonna end.
Yeah, see, what, 2:30 in the morning. You need to come back through 5.